Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. This video is my follow-up on the how to increase your confidence video, right? So this one is on fear. I get a lot of questions, especially from the young guys, on how to deal with fear, right? And I love that question because it's something that's very common. It's something that we all experience, and it's something I also love because it's something that's easily, believe it or not, easily conquerable, right? It's very easy to conquer fear. You simply got to know what works, right? And you guys know I'm the king of trial and error. I've tried everything. I've tried every method. Through experience and research, I've found out what works. And this is my specialty. It's simply boiling down everything to practical, simple steps, right? So, first, before we talk about fear, you gotta understand what is fear, right? Fear, just like every other emotion, is occurs in the brain, right? We all know about the amygdala. If you don't look it up, the amygdala is the freaking structure in your brain that processes fear. It helps you process fear, right? So whenever you're afraid, I want you to disconnect that from your personality. I don't want you to say, "Hey, I'm afraid." I want you to understand that it's simply a structure in your brain that's processing information and releasing that sensation, right? So why does that help? Because that help you disconnect. That help you disconnect fear from your personality. So now you don't go, "Oh, I'm a pussy. I'm a scaredy cat." No, now you just think, "Okay, my brain for some reason is processing this information negatively. I just have to find out why." Your amygdala is responsible. Some people that have damaged amygdalas don't feel fear, and some of them actually go out and try to find help because they do a lot of shit that a normal person would not do simply because they don't have the fear to restrain them. Right? Remember, when your amygdala fires, it's really to protect you. Your brain is trying to protect you from something. Sometimes it makes sense. I mean, there's a tiger in front of you, or there's fire or whatever. But a lot of the times, and I'm assuming that applies to the people I got the question from, it's not logical. It's not something they should be afraid of. So it's up to you to first understand this. That, hey, for example, like one of the questions I get the most is talking to women. You have no reason to be afraid of that if you watch my video on confidence, because that's not something that's gonna kill you. It's not something that's gonna cause harm. Your brain processes differently because it's still thinking in terms of adaptation, evolution, caveman type shit, and it doesn't want you to be rejected. But it's up to you to actually tame that. And but let's just get to the point. The top 7 things, top 7 ways to reduce fear. From my experience, number one is exposure. You gotta expose yourself to the things that you're afraid of. I mean, it sounds basic, it sounds simple, and everyone would agree with me on this. You simply have to, expose yourself to the things that you're afraid of. People that are afraid of the dark, the fastest way to remove that fear is to expose yourself to the dark. People that are afraid of dogs, put them around dogs for a long time. If they're too scared, put the dog on a leash, but put them in that situation. I did the same thing with my daughter when she was growing up. She was just, terrified of loud noises. Guess what I did? I didn't turn off the loud noises. I didn't hide her in the room. I put her in front of those loud noises. She cried for the first few minutes, but after a while, it became second nature. She became used to it. So we have to stop being super sensitive where we try to shield people from the things they're afraid of. No, expose them to that shit as long as it's not gonna harm them. Don't expose motherfuckers to like ravenous snakes and shit like that. But so that's number one thing, exposure. Same thing with women, right? People that are afraid to talk to girls and things like that. Expose yourself to that environment. Go to bars. Go to parties. Oh, I'm afraid. Do it. The longer you do it, the more your amygdala is gonna realize, wait, this is not such. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like fire where your amygdala is like, stay away from fire, and then you disobey and you get burnt. No, this is something where your amygdala is like, I think the situation is gonna cause harm, but I'm not sure. So you expose yourself to it, and your brain goes, "Oh, I was wrong," and it stops to release that fucking impulse. So that's number one, exposure. Number two is knowledge, right? The more knowledge you have on a specific issue, the less fear you're gonna have about it. For example, if I tell you that you were gonna be robbed tonight at 10 p.m., the thief was gonna come from the back door, he was gonna have a knife on him. I mean, I give you every single detail about the situation. Guess what? Your fear would be a lot lower than if I just told you you're gonna get robbed this week, right? Because now you have that uncertainty, right? Fear comes from uncertainty. So the more you increase your knowledge on whatever it is that you're afraid of, the less fear you're gonna have. That's the second thing, right? Knowledge. Increase your knowledge on that specific thing that's scaring you. Because a lot of times you realize, oh shit, I was afraid for no reason, right? The third thing I would say is plan. Have a plan. If you have to do something and you're super scared, well, chances are you can't avoid that thing anyway. So let's say you are afraid of public speaking, and you're scared to go on stage and probably stutter or whatever. Have a plan. What do I mean? Having a plan reduces fear because now your brain has a sense of control where it's like, okay, I know I can't avoid this situation, but now at least I know the contingencies. I know what to do when the situation presents itself, right? So if you say, oh, I don't want to talk because I'm afraid of getting stuck, well, have a plan for what you'll say when you get stuck on stage. It's that simple. You know, you might throw a joke. You might tell the audience, "Oh shit, I know this is gonna happen." Whatever, as long as you have a plan for that situation, it reduces the sense of fear, right? So that's the third thing I recommend. The fourth thing I recommend is witnessing, right? I've noticed that when we witness somebody do something we're afraid of repeatedly, our level of fear towards that thing actually goes down. So if you're afraid of, again, I get a lot of questions about talking to girls. Witness people who are doing it, who are just like you and I. Don't go look for somebody who's like a fucking completely out of your your league or whatever. Look for somebody like you and I who's doing what it is that you want to do and expose yourself to that. Witness them do it. It's gonna give you confidence. Kind of like when you're like, I can't bench press 225, but then you see a friend of yours doing it, and you're like, oh fuck that. Not only the competition element pushes you to to be less afraid, but the fact that you witnessed it being done gives you motivation to do it. So that's the fourth thing. All right, the next thing I recommend is hope. Remove your sense of hope, guys. Remember, fear comes most of the time from expectations, right? We are afraid because we have expectations. We are hoping for something to go our way. We are hoping for a girl to say yes. So we are hoping for people not to laugh at us. That hope is what brings fear, right? So hope is a huge baggage. And what I tell people is to deal with that is I don't want you to be hopeless, but think of death, right? This is how I remove almost 99% of my fears. I think of death. We all gonna fucking die. I told you the most traumatic experience of my life was when I lost a close friend of mine when I was 16. And that put everything in perspective because I realized when you on your deathbed or when you're looking at, somebody who's, who just passed or whatever, everything else that you worried about becomes so fucking little. It becomes so insignificant. And I always tell people, do you really think on your deathbed, whatever it is that you're stressing about now, do you really think it's going to matter on your deathbed? Right? And almost 99% of the time I get, oh shit, you're right. People are like, I'm afraid to talk to so-and-so. I'm afraid to do that public speech. I'm afraid to do that. And I'm like, all right, close your eyes and fast forward to your deathbed. You have 10 seconds to live. You're laying down on the bed and the countdown is on. How important is that fear to you now? Instantly disappears, right? So a lot of the time it's because we don't think long term that we can't really put things in perspective. Think long term. Look at the big picture. You're gonna die eventually. I know it sounds like a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's a fucking fact. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you get rid of all these fucking unnecessary fears that drag you down. So now you're like, you know what? I'm gonna die eventually. The best I could do now is just hustle, grind, make sure I dominate, reclaim my throne, leave an impact on the world, and get the fuck out. And all the little fucking insecurities instantly disappear because now you have you have the big picture. You know what's gonna happen. Back to what I said earlier about fear coming from uncertainty. Well, now you have certainty. You know, so that's what I recommend is stop hoping so much. Think of the big picture. Think of death, which is gonna help you see the big picture. And again, hope. Fear comes with hope. You remove the hope, you remove the fear. Same thing with when I was telling my brother when he needed help talking to girls and things like that because he didn't speak English. He came here, he was trying to adapt, so he was nervous, and I told him stop hoping. Stop hoping for a yes. Stop hoping for the girl to give you her number. Stop hoping for all that bullshit. Go out and have fun. Enjoy yourself. Talk. Just be yourself. And when he removed the hope, it took a while because at first he didn't fucking listen. But when he removed the hope, he started. I'm not going to get into the details because I don't know who might be watching this to get him in trouble. But when he removed the hope, he became pretty fucking successful. Because now he had a chance to be himself. Without hope, there's no fear. So that's it right there. So that was step number 5. Number 6, I don't fucking know. The next thing I would recommend is identity. Again, I was talking about identity, how it's like the most important thing in life, right? I talk about how knowing your identity helps you get a sense of value, a sense of mission for your life. People that don't know their identity are always fucking scared. I've noticed that they are always scared because they don't know who they are. If you don't know who you are, how are you gonna have a sense of value? It's kind of like I give the example several times. If you fall on your head and you forget who the fuck you are, right? You go on the street and you scared of everybody, you scared of everyone, and out of nowhere a car drives by and it's like, oh man, I recognize you. You know, you the great so and so, or you the child of so and so. Oh, you the one that blah blah blah. Instantly, when you remember of your identity, a lot of insecurities begin to go away. A lot of your fears begin to go away because now you know who you are and you have a sense of value. You know, people are fearful because they don't know what they can contribute to society. They don't know their worth. They don't know what makes them stand out. So they're insecure. They're introverted. You know, they're afraid to like walk around with with their shoulders flared. You know, they're pretty much caving in, right? Because they're like, oh my god, they was looking for validation. They was looking for acceptance. They simply don't know their value. And again, you don't know your value because you don't know your identity. So knowing your identity is really going to help you deal with fear. Trust me, it's I should have put that number one because it's one of the most important things, And I talk about how identity is the root of almost every single fucking problem. And the last thing, that's probably number six. Yeah. The last thing I recommend to deal with fear is have a sense of mission, right? And again, you can't have a sense of mission unless you know your identity. So you can kind of like see how you're gonna lead into number seven. Have a sense of mission, man. Have a mission for your life. I always tell young people when I talk to them, I'm like, dude, what is your mission? Why do you wake up in the morning? What is your purpose? You got to look at the big picture. It's not all about waking up, going to the gym, drinking protein shakes, going to parties, doing homework, whatever, going to bed, and hoping for the next day. No, what are you contributing to society? What will you contribute after you're gone? It doesn't have to be anything huge. You don't have to build big towers like I always joke about, but have a sense of mission in terms of this is my purpose. This is what I want to do in life, right? This is what I'm working towards. And I know you might ask, what does that have to do with fear? Because again, it gives you a sense of value. When you walk into a place, everything else is secondary because the number one thing on your mind is your mission. So whether the girl says yes or no, whether you get accepted in that interview or not, whether you get you deliver that speech well or not, you really don't care because all those things are secondary. Because at the end of the day, well, whether this outcome is positive or not, I'm still going back to my mission. I still have something I'm working towards, and that's all that really fucking matters. But when you have a sense of mission, again, back to the validation thing, you're hoping to get accepted everywhere. All right, so sorry I made this video too long, guys, but I hope that covers all the, all of your main concerns. So quick recap. Actually, read this too fucking long, but fuck it. Stop hoping so damn much. Have a sense of mission. Have a sense of identity. Expose yourself to the things you're afraid of. Witness people doing it. I don't know if I mentioned plan yet, but yeah, have a plan, and increase your knowledge on whatever it is that frightens you. So and that should take care of fear. Now, as far as the most important thing, it depends on the person. Write down those 7 things and rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and see where you lack. See where you rank. Based on all the 7 things. Write them down. I do this all the time. Write down the 7 things and rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So in terms of knowledge towards a specific thing you're afraid of, are you on the 2 end of the range, or are you at 8 out of 10? As far as exposing yourself to the thing that you're afraid of, how much have you been exposing yourself to that thing lately? 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Rank yourself, and based on that, you'll be able to see, okay, I'm not too much worried about this part or this part. This is where I really have to make progress, and that will really help you improve as a person. All right, guys, hope this helps. Remember, Team3DAlpha, it's all about maximizing your potential, claiming your throne that's out there covered with spider webs, dominance, discipline, direction, guys. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. If you're an OG supporter, like the video. If you have any more questions, comment below. And feel free to share your experiences in the comment section. I love reading the comments. And feel free to also share your methods of dealing with fear. And let the comment section, let people go to the comment section and really just, really see what this movement is all about. See the brotherhood, see the suggestions, the help, the discussions. All trolls get blocked. You guys already know this. All negative comments, unless they're constructive, get removed. So, let's take advantage of this comment section. All right, guys. Love you guys. Stay disciplined. Have a sense of direction, and don't forget to dominate. I'm out.